What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the one, the only, the WyOriginal Podcast, brought to you by your host, Jared Burton.
Angel Maldonado.
I am Dominic Syracuse, and we are having an extremely special show today. I say that all the time. I'm always like, we have a special show. We have a special show. There's a special show. This one's very special, but you know what? This one is extra special for a couple reasons. Number one, this is our very first live stream. We are live streaming from the presidential
Shout out to
studio.
That. Round of applause.
Barbershop. Yeah.
Let's get it.
Woo! And so we're like, all right, we're doing our very first live stream. We have to have a very special guest. It has to be a special occasion for the live stream. So who is our very special guest? But Cheyenne's own hard rock and heavy metal legends in the making.
Let's go.
We have ANTiSAiNT.
Let's go. Let's go.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Gentlemen, thank you so much for being here and hanging out with us. We have so much to talk with you about, but first, why don't you introduce your name to everybody? Let them know, who you are and everything like that.
Sure, yeah. My name is Matt. I am the front man of ANTiSAiNT.
And I'm Andrew. I play guitar, and Matt is severely underselling himself. He does literally everything. I am a bum and ride on his coattails.
When you say everything, what's included in everything?
Oof, man. Like just all the graphic design, planning out everything. I mean, a lot of being a band these days is wearing so many hats when you're independent. So, like I'm pretty much, well, I mean, I don't want to take the credit, but we're doing things that labels will do for their bands and things like that on our own. So it's a 9-to-5 job.
That's a fact.
That doesn't pay.
Yeah. Well, that's like, it's funny. I don't think a lot of people understand there's a reason it's called show business, right? There's a business aspect of being in anything. And it's kind of like that joke. If you're like the CEO of anything, when you're starting it out, that just stands for Chief Everything Officer. Right?
Yeah.
You're doing I'm making the flyers and I'm promoting myself and I'm doing the funding. And then once you do all that work, it's like you're about to go on all these people here and you're like, oh shit, now we have to play a show.
Yeah. I mean, it's like live performance is about 5% of what I do, which is great because that 5% outweighs all the work that I do. Like
that's a fact.
It makes it worth it all. I just recently got done 2 months now, like pretty much working on a brand new visualizer for our new single Paradise that we're going to release on YouTube at the Ivan Moody celebration.
Okay. Talking about the show.
Yeah.
With Ivan Moody.
Yeah. Well,
these are the headliners.
Let's get into that because y'all are doing so much. I mean, it's so cool to know that a band that reps Cheyenne is doing so much on literally a global scale. We're going to get into all this in more specifics, but you guys just announced that you're going to be opening for Drowning Pool at the Lincoln. Right? Yes. Amazing. And then also, not only we're going to be getting into the grand opening of Ivan Moody's Rock Stop, which is going to be amazing. And you guys just got back from England playing the Download Festival, right?
Okay.
Yeah. Give it up.
Okay.
That is freaking awesome. So let's start with that. First of all, how did you guys end up getting invited to Download in England? How did all that come to be?
Man, a lot of it was just, right time, right place with things. It all probably started a couple of years ago. I had to fill in for Drowning Pool on bass for Shiprocked. And while we were out there, I met our drummer now, Jackson. And it was through him. He's got connections with people in the industry. They came out, and when we were touring with Drowning Pool, they saw us. They submitted, on our behalf to the festival. The committee there approved it, and at the end of that tour, they told us, hey, you guys got invited to download. You want to do it? And we're like,
So
duh.
Yeah, think about it. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean the cool part too about just the way download works is it's a committee of 5, and they all have to be unanimous vote. So all 5 of them have to vote it in. So the same people that made the decision of bringing Metallica in made the decision to bring us in.
Oh.
And when I found that out, I was a little bit more relieved because, you know, you get this kind of imposter syndrome going on
right
when you get close to that. And when you start seeing the names on that bill, you're like, man, you know, do I truly fit on this?
How did I end up here?
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah. And you know, we had no idea how it was gonna go down. Like, unknown band from Cheyenne, Wyoming. You know, a lot of people didn't even know where Wyoming was or if it even existed.
Bro, facts. I'm sitting.
Your boy right here.
I'm sitting on the plane. I'm sitting on the plane yesterday, coming back. So, you know, family took a vacation to California. I'm on the plane from California to Denver, and this lady I'm sitting next to, she's going from Cali to Denver to I think like DC or something.
Right.
And she goes, "So is Denver home?" I go, "Oh no, I'm actually in Wyoming." She goes, "Oh, so you got another plane to catch?" You know. I was like, "No, it's like an hour drive."
I'll tell you this, man. I love when I can fly from Denver to Cheyenne.
Yeah,
That's the best 10-minute flight of my life.
I'm telling you. So for those of you watching that don't maybe, you know, follow metal music and everything like this, maybe you're like, oh, okay, some of the Download Festival, I don't know that I've heard of that or whatever. I guarantee you've heard some of the headliners on Download. Let me just throw out some names here that you might have, I don't know, maybe heard. The main headliner you said was Bring Me the Horizon, right?
Yeah.
So
Friday.
anybody, I mean, this is a shout out to when I was growing up, all my emo kids out there. Bring Me the Horizon. We all remember screaming through our snake bites to Bring Me the Horizon. But then, you know, and then other little less well-known bands like Slipknot.
Yeah.
And Metallica, right?
Wow.
Like just some bands you might have heard of on a global scale, maybe. And then on top of all those dudes, who else do they have but ANTiSAiNT from Cheyenne, Wyoming? That's so amazing. Now let me go back a little bit, because you just threw this out kind of flippantly, and it was like, whoa, back up. I love how you just said, yeah, so I just got asked to play bass for Drowning Pool. Yeah, it's like, hold on.
Yo, I'm glad you caught that.
Yeah.
No, I'm glad you caught that. I'm over here saying like, man, my guy's mad humble.
Yeah, sit there.
He's just like very humble.
As if
very humble.
Drowning Pool, like the band that sings "Let the Bodies Hit the Floor," is like, hey, we need a bass player, and they just put it up at a Guitar Center with like little, like, take a number. Who wants to do? Looking for bass player for massive metal powerhouse.
Wow.
Yeah. How did that come to be?
Man. So I've worked for Drowning Pool for about 10 years now.
Nice.
Go back to
How did it start? How did it start?
Yeah. So back when Matt and I, when we were called Red Tide Rising, this was like 10 years ago, Drowning Pool was playing at Summit Music Hall in Denver. And I reached out to them on Facebook, just messaging, hey guys, you want some cryo for your show tonight? And I did this with bands all the time back then.
a lot.
They were the only band that ever replied to me. And they're like, yeah, dude. So we brought it down and, brought 2 jets down, did the show for them. And we're like, hey man, if you guys like this stuff, consider bringing our band on tour. We'll give you the cryo for free. Let's trade, let's barter here.
Nice.
So we did that. That started the relationship. I started drum tech for them after that. Moved to guitar tech eventually. Now I do front of house for them. And there's times throughout this 10 years that, I've had to learn their set on guitar. CJ a while back, his wife was they were about to have their daughter on a, showtime due date was about the same time. So, I learned the set on guitar, and I've learned it on bass too. So, when Steve, I think he got COVID, or his daughter had COVID, and he couldn't make the gig. So, they called me up like 2 days before. Hey man, can you do Shiprocked with us? On bass.
Yeah.
By the way, we're gonna be playing 2 songs that are unreleased that you've never heard. Good luck,
Man, I was so mad because it was like year 3 of not playing live music, and he gets to go and do Shiprock. And prior to that, he did Sturgis with them, which was 20,000 people.
Yeah.
I was like,
that little event, Sturgis, no big deal. It's like,
yeah, I mean, look,
Sturgis.
now looking back at it, I'm glad he did Shiprock because Jackson is an incredible drummer, and you guys are going to see. I mean, he's only 17. Just keep that in mind when you watch our performance this Saturday.
So how did
He's
how did
17.
Jackson? So how did you get the drummer Jackson to flow with you from the Drowning Pool stuff?
Yeah, so like I said, I met him on the ship, and that that was a 5-6 day kind of thing. So and Drowning Pool played the first night. So after that, I was on free vacation mode, which was awesome.
Wow, nice.
So met him and his family, and hung out, and Drowning Pool offered us a tour in the fall, and we needed a drummer for that. So I was like, hey man, I'm just gonna reach out to Jackson. I know he drums. I know he's got the skill too. It ended up working out great because part of it is you got to know your stuff and be able to play the songs, but the other part of it is personalities,
Right?
especially because that tour we were sharing a bus with Drowning Pool, so it's already super cramped. And if you're in tight space, not a lot of free time with away from each other,
No.
you got to make sure that personalities are good.
Nice.
So we all just gelled really well together, and it just worked out great.
Love it.
Yeah, it was. Oh, go ahead.
No, that's freaking amazing. And it's cool that you talk about like the symbiotic relationship of it. You know what I mean? And so speaking of relationships, let's talk about the two of you, because I'll be honest, I was so confused. So the first time I saw you play was when you opened for Puddle of Mud. Right.
Mhm.
And no offense to Puddle of Mud. I know you're huge fans of the show and you're watching right now. I know that.
Shout out Wes.
They're on the live stream right now.
But yeah, they're on the shit. What if they're like commenting? Just like, you mother.
Puddle of Mud official.
God damn it. No, but no, that they're like I'll be honest, I thought you guys blew them out of the water. Like I thought that your energy and the power that you were bringing and the badassery and your abs, that I was like, man, I wish I had some cheese so I could grate it on your abs as you were playing. I was like, that was like the first thought, which I know everyone else was thinking in the audience. No one just said it, Anyway,
That's what I'm talking about. It's those Dominici
Yeah,
moments.
I love
Right there,
it.
you know what I'm
Say
saying?
it,
man.
There
but
it
no,
is.
it was so cool. But the thing was, there was very clearly like a full band, right? And then I know we shouted you out on the show, right? Jared found out you guys were doing download,
That's a fact.
and we gave you a shout out for the WyOriginal shout outs. And then you reached out and started talking, and we were like, yeah, let's have him on the show. And this is what confused me, is that they were like, Jared was like, yeah, so it's the two dudes. And I was like, I'm like, I'm pretty sure there was more than two people on that stage, right? And he's going like, no, it's just, I've been talking, it's two guys. And I was sitting there going like, okay, listen, I haven't done drugs in years. I swear there was 4 people at least on that stage. And then I'm going like, what? Wait a minute. And I'm trying to like imagine, you know what I mean? I'm like, was I like talking about the wrong lead singer's abs this whole time? What's the deal? So yeah. I was so confused. So tell us a little bit. So how does all that work? What's the deal?
Sure. I mean, yeah. So like we run it as Andrew and I. We own ANTiSAiNT. We're in the process of making Jackson and Andreas official members when they're ready. I mean, I would love to have them on board, but also in the same time, from what we learned in the past, is we don't want to rush this. Like
It's a fact.
it's Andrew and I have this shared dream from watching AC/DC live at Donington of just wanting to be rock stars.
Yes.
So playing download was incredible. To have that moment checked off the list of like 20 plus years after watching that DVD and being on those grounds and doing something like that. So yeah, we run it as Andrew and I, but there were definitely 4 of us that night.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
weren't
Thanks.
hallucinating.
Good. Thank you. Well, and let me ask. So what do you both? Okay. What do you both do in the band as far as musically? Because I know we already talked about all the different stuff you do. What do you do in the band musically? And then also, what does the writing process look like? I mean, do you both write and
Yeah.
then teach the other people, or is it a collaborative process in the studio? How does that work?
It's been a collaborative process. So Andreas, who's been playing bass with us, he comes up here often from Denver, and we'll do writing sessions together. Like he and I work really well together, you know, jamming out riffs, figuring out, hey, we like this, we don't like that kind of stuff. And we'll get things musically put together, you know, 95%, send it to Matt to do all the lyrics and vocals on, because I have no business touching that for him. But yeah, like usually, dude, honestly, what I do, like I jam guitar throughout the day. If something's cool, I'll record a voice memo on my phone, and then I'll wait like a couple days or a week, and I'll listen back on it and be like, is this still cool? And if it's still cool, I'll be like, all right, maybe I'll show it to Andreas when he's not next.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. But yeah.
So sorry, I have to laugh because off camera when we were chatting before the show, I think it was Matt when he was like, yeah, man, I had to wait all the way till I was 28 years old,
Right,
you know,
yeah,
something like that.
Yeah.
And then the three of us are sitting there going like, oh yeah, sure, yeah, 28.
Hey, I mean, to put it
Yeah,
in context,
That's good.
Jackson was only 17. when
No,
he
I
played
get it.
down.
I get it. Look. Don't get me wrong. I mean, you've already lived longer than Hendrix and Joplin and all of them. You know what I mean? So I get that. But the thing is, you guys are young, and I had to laugh because I play guitar, and I remember when I was in a band, you know, we did like hard rock and heavy metal and stuff when I was in high school. And you're like, yeah, I recorded it on my phone. To give you an idea about how old I am, I had to record it on my phone, but it was before cell phones, so it was my answering machine. So what I do is
There we
I'm not kidding. I'm not
Yes.
kidding. I'd grab my like acoustic guitar and I'd erase our family answering machine
Love it.
message and just press like record, and then it'd be like, you know,
Yeah.
and this was back before like there was no sound quality.
Oh, yeah.
So really what you heard back was like me being like and what was worse was when you forgot to record it and re-record a new
Oh,
voicemail,
man.
because then someone calls and they're like, was somebody being murdered? What? I'll never forget. I swear to God, I forgot to do it. My Jewish grandmother called the house, and it was the greatest. It was like beep, and she left this message. What the hell was that? So
Oh,
anyway,
that's
I'm
great.
glad to
That's
know.
great.
I'm glad to know technology's helping with that kind of thing, because that's awesome.
So I guess for me, my question is, I'm gonna go a little deep for a little bit.
Sure.
So I guess I want to know, like, where did the passion first start for each of y'all? How did you guys get together, and how did the name come?
Yeah. Man, probably when I was like 7 or 8, my parents bought me AC/DC Live at Donington, the DVD and the CD,
Nice.
and just watching that, dude, like I don't know if you've ever seen that video. They've
don't
got
think I have,
all the songs are on YouTube.
Oh yeah,
Like
yeah.
just look up Thunderstruck.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Live
at
good.
Donington,
So
like-
it's
Like,
yeah.
it's
So
just a fucking sea of people. Like you can't see the end of it, and it's insane. Like they got helicopter shots and all this, and it's just 5 dudes on stage, guitar, bass, drums, vocals, like moving all these people. And I'd never seen anything like that before. You know, like not that I was a stranger to music or anything at 7 or 8, but I didn't know that existed. And I was like,
Wow.
I want to do that. That's fucking cool.
Yeah.
Like, so it started there, man. We did like I got a guitar at 9, an acoustic guitar, and then an electric at 10. And then I got my first like real, you know, like expensive guitar, Gibson SG, for my
Nice.
13th birthday.
which deep cut is the same guitar that Angus Young
Dude,
plays
well, that's my
in
guitar.
AC/DC.
That's my guitar hero.
Yeah,
That's all I
yeah.
play is
And
SG
real
stuff.
quick, I should know this. But are you two brothers?
Yeah,
You are
Yeah,
brothers.
we're
So
brothers.
just like Angus and Malcolm Young
Just-
from AC/DC.
just like that. Yeah.
That's so
Ah,
cool. There's so
yeah.
much symbiotic stuff there. That's awesome.
So yeah, so we you know, I got first electric at 10, and my guitar teacher through Scouts, man, he had twin boys same age as me that were also learning guitar and bass at the same time. So we're like, dude, 6th grade talent show, let's play TNT from AC/DC.
Nice.
And then we just forced Matthew to sing. He didn't know.
I tried guitar, couldn't do it. My fingers weren't strong enough.
Like he didn't know he could sing. We didn't know he could sing. We're just like, yeah, just do it, man.
I couldn't sing back then. It was awful. I had this weird
It
like,
was
fake
good.
accent because I was trying to mimic like Bon. I was trying to mimic Bon Scott, who's Australian. It was like what? Like I watched that audition tape that we did for the talent show, and I just cringe. My bones just get all like just.
Yeah.
What was I doing back then?
But it started from there because we did that, and it was cool because nobody at our elementary school at the time had done a band performance for the talent show. It was ridiculous. We had our own stage set up outside in the gym, and Dad's doing sound. It was hilarious. But yeah, so
had a little banner from like FedEx Kinko's,
Yeah.
So you guys had parent support like all through your journey.
Oh yeah,
that's fire.
Dad mixed us a download. So
oh my God, that's really dope.
That was one of the greatest moments of his life.
That's pretty dope.
Mix us at the biggest event in the world.
I'm sorry. What a kid thing to say, because we all have kids like, yeah, Dad, one of the greatest moments of your life was getting to work for me, wasn't it? You're welcome, Dad.
See why
the gift that just keeps on giving, Dad.
See why it was nice for you to get us that DVD?
Yeah, exactly.
See what that did for you? See that
By
investment?
the way, thanks for the $1,000 Gibson.
Hey man, I went in a little bit on that.
So just for retrospect, Dad,
Nice.
how much did that DVD cost you back then?
Just so
How much
Hang on.
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
live.
yeah,
We're
yeah,
live,
we
and this is
live,
the
we live.
excitement
Yeah,
of it. Dad's actually hanging out. Oh,
Yeah,
shit.
Dad's here.
Come in.
Yeah,
Walk
come on,
over
come on,
here.
come on
Walk
in,
over.
come in,
Get
come
right
in,
behind
come in.
here. Give it up. So we got Scott in the house now. Scott, other than providing the seed for these two. What else do you do in the band? How because you do a lot for these guys. What else do you do in the band?
Still manage them. Their tour manager, front of house, drive them.
Yeah,
You name it, fund them.
yeah. So you do the
we're taking over the funding like
yes. But so you're tour manager as well, right? So a lot of these gigs you've kind of hooked up, right?
Yep.
That's awesome. And then now you mentioned earlier doing you went into drowning pool doing cryo. Now look, for those of you not in the live entertainment space, somebody might be like, doing cryo sounds like a street name for a drug. So can you explain a little bit about what cryo is? Because that's your level of expertise too, right, Scott?
Yeah. So cryo is a liquid CO2 effect. The great big cold plumes that you see that are super noisy.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
No, you're good. You're good.
So yeah, we own a few jets of them. I do cryo for multiple national or actually international bands right now. Starset, In This Moment, Drowning Pool, all run on our stuff.
Awesome. Yeah. And so is that, were you doing that before these dudes ventured into rock and roll or?
No. So back when I think Andrew was 16, they did the high school talent show. We're back to talent shows. Yeah. And they wanted to do something big, and I'm looking around. I couldn't do pyro, couldn't do anything cool, and came across this company out of Nashville. Called him up, and he sent me out some jets. And for 2 days or 3 days of talent show, we blew cryo off.
That's so awesome. Can I just make a suggestion? Because as you guys were talking about this, because now, obviously from elementary school and all these years later, your music's evolved. It's really, 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 really good.
Yeah.
You're going to be releasing a new single in a week, which we're going to talk about. But the thing is the music's so heavy and it's so badass now. Can you please make a music video of a bunch of 6th grade kids at a talent show,
just ripping,
right? Where they come out with the banners and they, all like that.
You ever seen that video from Ghost for Cerise?
No, I
That's
don't think
exactly it, dude.
Is
It's
that
like,
what
it's like 6th grade Papa
Yeah,
Emeritus.
yeah.
It's hilarious.
That's what I want. I want you guys to recreate to where there's like a little girl like doing like tap dancing, like before, and then they get off stage and you have like one of the teachers just like, somebody going like, just a quick announcement. There will be cinnamon rolls for lunch tomorrow. All right, and now welcome ANTiSAiNT. And then these like kids come up, and then it's just like, and like just heavy. Oh, that'd be so good. Anyway, I'll direct it. We'll star in it. Yeah.
Well, look,
We'll
shout out to Dad.
cameos. Shout out to Scott.
Dad.
Everybody give it up for Scott. Woo!
Shout out to Dad.
Oh man, that's awesome.
So
So
yeah, let's get back into
let's get back into
Right.
it.
formation.
I think the very end of your first question too was about the name,
Yeah.
and we've gone through. Well, Matt and I have been in, I guess, three bands names.
now, yeah.
So
Can we know what those were?
yeah, sure. So sixth grade, it was Velocity because we had
Okay.
no
There you
idea what we were doing, and we're like, that sounds
Yes.
cool.
Yes.
Science, science.
Isn't that the villain from Despicable Me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
That was before Despicable
Okay,
Me.
okay, all right, they were first.
We're
Okay.
trailblazers.
Yeah.
Trailblazers,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah, Despicable Me. I think they're
Yeah.
gonna need some royalty checks.
Right.
Yeah.
And then
Obviously.
Obviously.
and then high school, we were like,
Thanks.
oh, this doesn't sound cool to us anymore. Let's be edgy. Let's be Red Tide Rising. Not
Actually, I like
that.
like, which
I
was
do
cool
too.
for a while.
Yeah, I mean,
you know,
we did- yeah.
but it's still like pandemic hit, we had time to sit and do nothing. So we're like, you know what? We got this new record that we recorded. It's very different from everything else that we've done in Red Tide. Maybe this is the time to rebrand and like give it some serious thought,
Nice.
So we were going around. There was a couple things where like we want it to be one word, just one word. We were going through
It's just impactful,
Yeah,
when
yeah.
you see it on a board or something that people remember it.
and we had a list of names, and we were like, yeah, this is cool, but I don't know or whatever. And then we got to thinking like, there's that story, and I don't know if this is 100% true or not, but Godsmack got their name from the Alice in Chains song Godsmack.
Oh, really? Okay.
Supposedly.
Supposedly.
I don't know.
So it's
but
been said.
it's what I've heard a lot.
Yeah.
But so I was like, you know what? I love Chevelle. They're one of my favorite bands.
Yes.
top
yes.
5 for
Love
sure.
Chevelle. Yeah.
So I was just going through their catalog, and I was like, they have this song called ANTiSAiNT, and it's all one word. And I was like, man, that fucking resonates.
That's it.
That's great.
Nice.
It's a band I love. It's, it just sounds cool. I can get behind it. There's a lot of imagery I see with it.
Right.
Wow, that's nice.
So I was like, let's do that. And I was like, quickly Googling, are there any bands called ANTiSAiNT?
yeah.
So we're copyright.
That's
you know?
the
And-
That's the next challenge.
Luckily there's nothing. I was like, all right, let's do it. Let's
Well-
just rebrand it. And honestly, here's the crazy thing. So we have 2 songs that came out, Cold and The Other Side, in 2020. And that's when we made the name change. And we literally decided this the day before they were supposed to come out as Red Tide Rising.
Wow.
No.
Like,
Yeah, we
way.
pulled it.
We pulled it
like-
last minute. I was
Yeah.
like, yo, Dad, let's take this down from the the online distributor. And then we had a very heated exchange about, you sure we want to do
Well,
this?
I
And
mean,
rebrand it? And,
we
you
had
know,
just bought like a
you know.
20 by
Oh, yeah, yeah.
25 backdrop.
Yeah,
so it
yeah,
was very
yeah, we had this,
Yeah.
we had this massive
Wow.
Red Tide Rising backdrop. I was like, I don't know, man. I think right. But I was like, I don't know. I feel like we thought it felt right to do, and I'm very happy that we did that because just with the imagery and the branding alone that we've been able to do with ANTiSAiNT,
Yeah.
it's way better than anything that we ever did with Red Tide.
Yeah, it's really
Nice.
here's what I love about this is that what people don't really see, just with, we talk about this a lot on the show, is you always see the end result. You don't see all of the hustle
That's a
and all of
fact,
the
yeah.
story that goes on. But one of my favorite quotes is Da Vinci, and he said, if you knew how hard I worked, you would never call it genius. Because it's just
It's a fact,
right. It's just so
It's a
much
fact.
hard work with anything you do. And the cool thing is that every band has this, like, everything in a band is a journey, right? Finding the members, finding the name, finding all of this stuff before they even get to where they are. And once you reach mass appeal, people think, oh, they've just started. Like, there's that saying, it takes 10 years to be an overnight success or whatever. But as I'm hearing you talk, it reminds me, have you guys ever read Kurt Cobain's diary? It's very, okay. So it's very public. Kurt Cobain after he kept a diary, like his personal journal, and when he died, they had found it and they published it. And so this was his diary from like starting in like middle school. And you get to see him starting the band, and they went through, he talks about, oh, I'm so excited about this new drummer. Oh, this drummer didn't work out. Like all the way until he finds Kurt Cobain, or until he finds Dave Grohl, and he's sitting there going like, oh yeah, Dave, like I really think this guy could be our best drummer. He's the most talented guy we've ever drummed with, and blah, 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 blah. And then there's even a note in there of him worried because he lives in a different state, and him like writing a sorry note that he's got to kick him out of the band. And there's all that. And then there's all the different names that he's going through, and they tried all these different names. And there's this page where he's like, he circles it, and he's like, we finally found our band name, Nirvana. And he circles it.
Wow.
And it's just cool to think like, oh my gosh, this is just some kid in some high school in Washington with ambitions and dreams. And he doesn't know that this is about to become the biggest band in the world, and change music forever. But it's really cool to hear that the behind the scenes of y'all doing this kind of thing.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, like technically, Download was ANTiSAiNT's 15th show or something like that.
Wow.
But it was not our 15th show, not by a mile. Like, we spent 10 years with Red Tide because, look, like you said, it's a developing process. We went from this high school garage band that wrote really crappy original songs. But you have to figure it out, and also, like, for me, I was learning how to sing and how to sing properly and how to do this as a profession, because when you get a long tour like we did with Drowning Pool, you're doing 4 or 5 shows a week. We're in the slot where it's only a half-hour set, but it still wears and tears and all that stuff over time. So I'm very thankful to have that training that I got from my vocal instructor, who was a professional in the business. And, like I met him when I was, I think, 12, something like that. Mm-hmm. And he saw the potential in me, and we worked through, our main thing was teaching proper vocal techniques and vocal health. So when I approached him when I was about 16 and I heard, Korn, Disturbed, Slipknot, Drowning Pool for the first time, I was like, how do these guys do this stuff? How do they scream and sing clean in the same sentence?
But not just that, for years. And they never, no, it's literally it's a mystery to me.
Well, hang on. Listen to Jared's voice right now, because just to give you an idea about how tough this is, Jared literally comes in and he goes, oh, my voice is scratchy because I was yelling on the beach yesterday.
I was just at the beach. I used to sing, and so I've had the vocal training, and I have kids now. The hardest thing in the world, fuck singing, having kids will ruin your voice.
That's a fact.
I believe that. So, so I approached him.
Your first vocal teacher was Scott, your dad, screaming at you. Shut up! Shut up!
Well, it's funny because as I got into these like really extreme vocal techniques and stuff, it all goes back to being an infant, because they can scream for hours and hours and hours. I know we had one going to London. It was awful. That entire flight, just screaming all night. I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna sleep on the flight. I'll wake up. It's cool. It'll be morning there. I'll be great. No. I was 26 hours without sleep by the time we got to the Airbnb. But anyway, I digress. When you go and study this stuff.
Sorry, we're just gonna make that the title of the episode. ANTiSAiNT hates infants.
There you go.
The title of the episode.
Don't bring your infants to Ivan's thing.
ANTiSAiNT hates babies. Metal. No,
so anyway, so when it comes to breathing, we as we developed through being toddlers and teenagers and adults, we reprogram how to breathe. It's strange. It is. So infants, they breathe a certain way. And that is the proper way to get the most emphasis on like doing a proper vocal
Wow.
routine. So I
Wow.
had to study how an infant breathes, the way their stomach moves up and down with the diaphragm and all that, because breathing is the very foundation. A lot of people still think that screams are done from the vocal cords.
right.
No, that's the best way to end up getting surgery and stuff like that and doing it wrong.
Go home and talk to my kids. Teach me.
Right? Yeah.
For everyone
So-
out there, this is a lesson.
This is
Yeah.
a lesson.
Please
Yeah,
listen.
yeah,
This
yeah.
this is class in session. So please listen.
Yes. So it took me like, I think the first Red Tide song where I did screams, I think it was on our album called The Rising, and they were horrible screams. But you gotta start from somewhere. Because
Facts.
look, it took me probably 4 or 5 years to get the foundation
Right.
down, because it's very strange stuff you're doing. A proper scream, technically, comes from your natural resonators located in your skull. Now, it's
dope.
weird stuff, okay? It goes down to like how opera singers train and sing. That's the very foundation of screaming. Where you go and make the difference is tapping into these resonators in your head. Think of it like
Wow.
an amplifier. You're taking that sound, you're sending it, and it's just bouncing around your skull. And then it comes out. That's where you get the grit and the heavy sounds.
Wow.
And that's when you're doing it properly.
Listen, we got a new title for the show.
Yeah.
'Cause the hate
You're not
kids,
like an
I really
ANTiSAiNT
don't
hates
like all that.
babies?
I
You
feel
don't
like
like that?
nobody's
Alright.
gonna want to come because they have a lot of kids in Cheyenne.
I know, I'm kidding.
So I think what we're gonna say is we're gonna call the show ANTiSAiNT Newborn.
Yeah.
And that's how we're gonna
That's
roll.
way better.
Because
That's way better.
that was
Yeah.
fire. Like
That was
you just
fire.
taught me something,
Yeah.
brother. Like
Yeah.
that's like
You know what I love?
incredible.
You know what I love about that too is that, like, like talent is talent,
Yeah,
and there's a thing in music, but in general, where people can tend to hate on stuff. Speaking of Slipknot earlier, there's a very famous interview where Larry King asks Corey Taylor if metal is even music. He's like, is this even music? And there's a lot of that, coming out. But the thing is it's so cool to hear you say, screams, when screaming came out in music, that swept a whole generation. People were like, holy crap, you can do that. And it sounds amazing when you hear people who are really good at it. But it's really cool to know, like, listen, because I remember when I'd listen to screaming music, my parents would be like, what the hell? This isn't music. They're screaming. Anybody can do that. And it's like, no, like you said, it's actually the same techniques that opera singers have to learn
That's amazing,
to do this
man.
kind of thing. It's all art. It's all talent. It's all awesome. Now what I need you to do is I need you to scream for us. I know it's 8:30 in the morning and you don't have to do it into the microphone. I don't care what you say.
No, because bro, he gave such a visual. I'm
Yes.
actually trying to find my scream.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm trying to
Exactly.
see where my scream's gonna come
look,
from.
my kids
like-
are in trouble when they get home.
Instead of like a scream that I do, I'll show you kind of a warm up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
Because it all starts
Nice.
with grit, right? And
It's a
it's
fact.
kind of like also, I think in the history of it too, it goes back to like the monks, those just low, like sound.
Yeah.
So, all right, let me.
Oh, here we go.
This is kind of cool, honestly.
Yeah,
man. Like,
yeah,
I learned
yeah.
a lot in just like a few minutes. Like,
So
that's
let
pretty
me
cool,
get
bro.
my little music wheel.
And by the way, I apologize for the fly. Last time it was a moth, but
That's all right. We got
for
visitors.
some reason we like flying creatures on our set.
I will
so-
take a fly over a moth.
Oh,
Okay,
God.
I hate moths. So, all right. So let me see here. Let me hear.
That's
Whoa,
pretty
I mean, I usually do that at the end of my. So I have a whole routine that I do for every show. I do these at the very end to establish the grit, right? So like
Right.
my vocal routine, it goes over, it starts clearing everything in my throat, getting it all warm and open and stuff. And then at the end, I get that grit going. So that way I can just hit it right into the, because
Love
we
it.
start,
That's amazing.
we start
man.
the set
That's fucking amazing.
relatively heavy. So, I got to go
Absolutely.
in.
And
I'ma tease-
now
I
you
want-
guys have a new song coming out that we're dropping.
Is out.
Yeah.
Well,
it is
so
out.
the song is out. There's a visualizer.
I love it. Okay.
That's going to go to it. So it's not a music video. It's not a lyric video. It's a visualizer.
It's
So
fucking badass is what it
It's
is.
fucking badass.
No, straight up, like I'll show you guys it.
yeah.
Oh, we get a sneak peek.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
yeah, the perks of doing the podcast, right?
Yeah.
So you know what's gonna happen? When my kids watch this show, right? And then I start hearing these noises downstairs. I'm
Yeah.
gonna be like,
You just hear, yeah.
oh,
Oh, that's you.
they just inspired my youth.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
Just scream
look,
it up.
that's what I love doing here, right? Because there's so many people that don't even know where to start. Because when I heard Jonathan Davis the first time, when I heard David Draymond the first time, Corey Taylor the first time, I was like, man, I'm never gonna be able to do that.
Yeah.
And here I am, potentially being the next generation of new metal, and fronting
Wow,
that is really incredible to me.
That's
I mean,
really cool.
I'm about to play a show for Ivan Moody, who was one of
Wow.
the inspiring singers when I was in middle school learning this stuff. you
Yes.
know?
So on that topic, let's get into that. So we've been talking about it on the show. I'm sure you've heard about it. Ivan Moody, lead singer of Five Finger Death Punch, having the grand opening of a couple businesses. He's opening, he bought out the gas station, which is going to be the rock and roll themed rock shop. It's going to be the only gas station in town that offers discounts to military members, because Ivan's huge on the military. And also, he's opening up a rehabilitation center, and the grand opening is this Friday
Shout out
or
to
Saturday.
that. Let's get a round of
This
applause for
Saturday,
that.
yes.
Shout out to that, man. Ivan Moody
It's
bringing the whole
the-
original feel.
The whole town is invited. He's going to be there. He's going to be doing a ribbon cutting and all this stuff. And here's a cool thing kind of behind the scenes was, so Ivan's, we're setting up the big grand opening. We want it to be a big celebration. We decide we want a block party. And so we were like, so we want some music at the block party. And Ivan's really, really cool. He was like, dude, I want only local. He's like, Cheyenne is my new home. This is my new family. I want only local musicians, right? Like strictly local. So reached out to some friends that I work with, you know what I mean? Like some dudes who, Mr. Bird and the Perfect Strangers, an awesome band that's been playing around Cheyenne for, all of the members have been playing around Cheyenne for like 20, 25 years. You know what I mean? So they're
Amazing.
awesome. We got the City Creek Band coming in. They're like the standard for any block party. Like if you have a block party without the City Creek Band, it ain't really a block party. You know what I mean? So they're coming in with that. And then the cool thing was, I was like, man, well, at first I was like, I should reach out to ANTiSAiNT, because I didn't know y'all were local. Like when I saw you guys open for
Wow.
Puddle of Mud,
Yeah.
I was seriously like, all right, again, Puddle of Mud, it's fine. But no, that's
the
fine.
new title.
Yeah, it's
Anti-
fine. But that's fine. But I was like, this band they got, ANTiSAiNT, this is the one. I'm like, they picked a right band to tour with, because this band's sick. And it wasn't until Jared was like, yeah, so Cheyenne local band ANTiSAiNT is gonna be. And I was like, what? They were local? What? I mean,
I didn't know either. So
that
don't
blew
feel
me away.
bad.
But here was the cool thing. So Ivan asked that I send him all the bands that I'm thinking about having, so he could do the approval. And I'm talking to his manager, and his manager goes, oh, ANTiSAiNT, yeah, we were gonna do a thing with them. Like, no, I'm not kidding.
Wow,
Like
yeah,
they,
that's
she was familiar with you guys, and was like, oh yeah, we were actually gonna do a thing with them before. That's cool, and she's like, that's cool, they're around and everything. I was like, turns out they're local. I had no idea.
Wow.
So we were like, all right, ANTiSAiNT has to be the headliner of the rock block and everything like that. Like they're going to be playing right before Ivan goes on, to do the ribbon cutting and all of this stuff, playing at 3:00 on that day. And so that we're super, super, super happy to have you guys. And you're taking the opportunity of the show, of the free block party on Saturday, to promote the new single. Tell us about this. What's going on there?
One thing.
Oh,
real
yeah.
quick. I like this because it gets back to that WyOriginal moment. And we're about to have a WyOriginal moment happen with a local band on the rise. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's a fire accomplishment. Let's give a shout out and a round of applause for that.
Yeah. So the brand new single that released, Paradise, when we were over in Download, we created, I mean me, modestly, create a visualizer to go with it. So the idea of the song Paradise it's reflection of when I was back in the pandemic, sitting probably 2 years into it, and all I could do was just be on Instagram or Facebook and look back at all the stuff that, happened when life was normal. Things like opportunities that did not exist. And I truly didn't know if they were going to exist at all, because there were no signs when the pandemic was slowing down, all that stuff. So, we just became attached to this artificial paradise in that way. So the song is about that. And the visualizer is this whole experience where it's this dude wearing a VR headset from the future. Apple pretty much copied me with their new.
They did.
Yeah,
They did.
exactly.
Okay.
So this visualizer plays out, and it plays out. It starts with a little light stuff like, oh, here's this music visualizer playing, and then it turns into like this Street Fighter game. Then it turns into a classic battle royale game like Fortnite type stuff. So it's more on the lines of entertainment in the beginning, like videos and stuff. Then it gets into the darker, more problematic things like gambling and stuff like that. So as you see this video, it gets darker and darker and darker.
I love it.
And I think everybody will enjoy seeing it. It goes very well with the song. I worked 2 months animating it.
Well, let me clarify this, because we're old. When you say, I get it. When you're talking about a visualizer, is this specifically for a VR headset? Is that what we're talking about?
No. You can watch it on your phone.
Oh, okay.
I have not done like 3D stuff like that yet. It might come up in the future. We're working on some really cool stuff with another company called Roadhounds that's breaking out into the
metaverse.
The metaverse. Well, let's talk about that, because I heard something about this, that you guys are going to be going to LA to be like recording some motion capture stuff for metaverse concerts. Is that right?
Yeah. So what we're doing at Download, we met up with that company, Roadhounds, and it was really fucking cool, man. They had this like 360 camera capture rig set up, and they got all four of us like 30 seconds. We're gonna become NPCs in their metaverse, just like like rock it out or whatever.
Which 30 seconds is a long time to mimic something. I was all out of material like 10 seconds in. I'm looking at the guy like,
we're still going.
Oh, we're still going. Oh, okay.
You're not even halfway, dog.
So if you're in the metaverse watching a concert and you see a guy going, yeah,
that's me.
And then, so we did that, and he's like part of the platform that they're launching. They want to have this portal where they have like virtual band performances that you can go attend, and so what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna record our set at Ivan's block party, and we're going to record our set at the Lincoln for Drowning Pool, send them that audio, and then go to LA and do like a mocap performance for it.
Love it.
And so we'll have the virtual ANTiSAiNT with ANTiSAiNT crowd members, I guess, watching.
So the Cheyenne crowd's going to be our metaverse.
That is pretty dope.
Yeah.
You might want to be there.
You might. Well, and this is the cool thing too, is that like I know it's still in development, so it's not to a point now where it's really. I mean, it's not to the point where it's like a Matrix style simulation,
right.
But it is cool to think like with the metaverse that you can attend a concert from your couch, to where you can just, as if you're right there with the band. And also it's cool to think like with a band, like I'm a stand-up comedian, how great it would be if I was like, hey, I got to do a show for 1 billion people, and then just put on a mask, and then do this show, and anybody from sitting on their thing can do it and go up. It's a really cool concept. It's a really cool idea. I'm interested in seeing how it develops and all of that stuff. You know what I mean?
I'm excited to kind of be part of the beginning of it. I know like Fortnite, they had a couple guests like rappers and things do virtual sets on their like timed events, and it's just kind of gathered this like kind of idea around there where you can see a band in a virtual environment that you can control. Like I think what Roadhounds wants to do is they want to make it an environment that the fan can control. Like you want
Pretty
to
cool.
make, I don't know, you want to make it all this trippy filter. Sure, put it in. Like you want to put yourself wherever you want on it. You want to put yourself on stage. Why not? Put
That's pretty
yourself
cool.
on
That's
stage.
pretty
Things
cool.
like that.
That's a fact.
Sorry, I gotta, it's funny because it's going to work for two groups of people, right? It's going to work really well for anyone who's got social anxiety, right?
Yeah.
I got a great story about social anxiety in a second about a live concert. But the other thing it's going to help is, people who are over 35 that are like, someone's like, yo, you want to go to a concert? And it's like, no, I don't. Here's the thing. It's like because when you're young, when I was like 13, I was like, let's go. I hope someone punches me in the mosh pit and I get knocked out. Like that's like your attitude. And then you get in your 20s and you're like, you know what? I'm gonna be in the standing room, but I'm gonna stay away from the mosh pit. And then you get in your 30s and you're like, I'll go, but I'm sitting down. And then you get like older and you're like, I have their CD, or I have their, I can listen to them on YouTube. I'm not gonna go. So it's cool to be like, yeah, let's go to a concert.
Right.
Boom, and then be there. I have this great story about, speaking of social anxiety. I was dating this girl in high school, and as like a birthday present, we were talking earlier about if we'd ever seen Metallica live because you guys just got done playing with them.
Yeah.
I went and saw them in 2003, and she took me as like a present, but we were young. We were like before 15, so her dad came and her brother came and everything, and she was not a Metallica fan. She just knew I was a Metallica fan, so it was like a gift for me, and she knew her dad liked it and stuff.
Nice.
But she was not into that kind of music. She was very like genteel, and we were around all these metalheads, and there's like 13,000 of them, and I loved it because she was just like scared and like holding on to me all tight, whatever. And the funny thing is, so we're there, and if I remember correctly, someone was smoking weed out of a Folgers can. It was,
Wow.
like a
Sounds like
Folgers, and it was like made, like it had like a, like the cardboard part of toilet paper, and he's like smoking it and then opening up the thing, and it's wafting. Well, anyway, I think enough got in her face that she was, relaxing a little bit.
Right.
And this is one of my most cherished memories of a metal show because Metallica starts playing Master of Puppets, right? It's a big song. They're, it's really cool. And there's a part where they start doing, the Master, and the whole crowd starts chanting. It was so cool. 13,000 metalheads going,
Wow.
Master, right? And I look over at her and her little brother, who do not know the music but are having a serious contact high right now, and they're just in it, and they're sitting there going, mustard.
Mustard of puppets.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah,
Wow.
try 130,000 people chanting.
That's crazy. Is that how
Master.
many people
That's
were
how
at
many people
download?
were
Yeah.
down.
How many people were? I mean,
130,000.
so you're in the UK. Just to go back to that, you're in the UK.
Wow, man.
There's 130,000 people
Yep.
there. Let me ask you this. I mean, do you feel because I know like there's a lot of metal shows going on, and Metallica just got done playing in Germany,
Yep.
a couple shows in UK. Do you feel like Europe has a bigger metal following right now than the United States?
I think it's a combo. We heard all these rumors that new metal's coming back. I mean, Five Finger just announced that I think their second record went double platinum or something like
Oh
that.
wow, nice.
It could have been platinum. I know it was another platinum though. So I mean, like, it's definitely back on the rise. And for the first time, downloads sold out. And not only did it sell out, but it oversold out at those staggering numbers. So yeah, I think, like, look, we went to Kiss also while we were in Europe.
Nice.
And it
It was
was
fucking sick.
it was sweet.
It was fucking
Yeah,
sick.
Kiss.
And I would say the crowd was like,
Well, what was crazy out there, like what I noticed, big difference from U.S. crowd versus European crowd was, I feel like people were more engaged,
Yeah.
and in the moment of it, there were far less phones in the
I
air.
love that.
Or
I
if
love
there
that.
was a phone, it was for maybe 30 seconds,
yeah,
just
20,
to
30 seconds.
capture a little bit. And I did the same thing. Like I do that. I don't get like full songs though. I just get enough of like, okay, I can look back at this and
Right.
smile.
And then you're in the
But then I'm
moment.
in
You're
it.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They definitely get in it.
So
I mean, look, like we started our set
He's like, damn.
Hey, man.
It's okay, man.
I'm excited. Yeah. I'm
It's
excited
okay.
to say, like, look, we started our set with like the tent being maybe a quarter full, kind of half full. So like 2,000 people there. By the time we
just 2,000.
yeah,
Just 2,000.
Well, yeah, but I mean, look,
Just.
it looked small though, you know, like when you're in that environment. Yeah. By the time we hit the third song, it was full. Like
Love
it was just so like people hear the music for the first time and they're not afraid of checking out new music, you know, like that. I think that's the bigger difference. Like,
so did you see like and I don't know if you watch numbers. I'm a number watcher and I hate it because you know, even with the podcast I watch numbers.
Yeah.
So did you see a jump in your numbers of like, you know, song sales and stuff after?
Yeah. So I mean, when they did the announcement in February, we got added to downloads like official Spotify playlist and all that. So that drove a lot of traffic.
Dope.
And it was really cool. Like a couple days before the festival started, it really spiked up because everybody that was going to the festival was like really, you know, prepping and figuring out, you know, I want to see this band and this band. So they're listening through everything.
They gotta learn the lyrics. They gotta learn.
That's a fact.
Yeah. So yeah, and so we saw an increase. There was a little dip after the festival, which you know I figured was gonna happen anyway. But like overall though, the numbers have been staying relatively up from where they were before the announcement.
So since we on numbers, right? You said 130,000 people at the download venue. What was your least amount of numbers at a show? And your most amount of numbers at a show? Was that the cap? Was that was that your most?
That was definitely cap.
So like, I'll say, you know, we didn't perform to 130,000 people. We probably had the tent hold 6, and we were told with the overspill outside there was between 8,000 and 9,000 that saw and heard us, which is still definitely the biggest. That is definitely the biggest.
9,000 people. To give you an idea, I mean,
wow,
that's ridiculous.
Look. I mean, to give you an idea, I mean, 9,000 people is, I mean, that's
a small hockey arena.
Well, yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is that's
saying.
literally like I saw the Black Keys play in Denver, and they played to 10,000 people, and that place was packed.
Yeah, it's close to Red Rocks. Like,
yeah, exactly. So so
you
you essentially sold out Red Rocks.
Right. Yeah,
that's amazing.
And it's like Matthew said, you know, the tent was about half full when we started, and then as people hear music coming from the tent, they just come in and check it out.
Man.
And as long as we don't completely fucking suck, they're gonna stay.
Yes,
you know?
They stayed.
And obviously
it was crazy too, like because like right next to the tent there was a bunch of food vendors and stuff, and we got a message from one of the guys working one of the food trucks who was like, dude, you guys were my favorite band of the weekend and I didn't even see you. I heard you.
Yeah, it was really cool to see like all the social media, like just different perspectives of people. Like somebody was like, yeah, we accidentally went to the wrong stage. Like the band they wanted to see was on the other side of the festival in the second tent. They went to the wrong stage and they stayed for our set. Like they started their day wanting to see a different band and they stayed for us. Like, you know, like it's signs like that, like going back to
and do you know what the other band's name was?
I do not.
It doesn't matter.
It's ANTiSAiNT.
It doesn't matter what the other band's name was.
That was the other band. ANTiSAiNT.
Nah, probably Puddle of Mud. Thanks to the
like, or it's crazy. Like, you know, there was a couple people that I met up with that they were like, yeah, we just wanted to get out of the sun. So we went into the tent and we were blessed. And I was like, all right,
yeah, like it doesn't matter how we got them there. They got there, they stayed, they enjoyed it, you know, like and like two, just kind of being a small band without a label and stuff like that. You know, like we've been engaging in the community. Like Andrew put up a thank you post to everyone with the crowd shot, and
awesome.
There's like 30, 40 comments of people that are like, you know, best band of the weekend type thing. And I'm like, wow, that's incredible.
And that's what it's all about because, you know, everybody starts somewhere, and it's also really cool for those people to be like, yo, we were with them from the very beginning.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I remember I used to go to Warped Tour every single year, you know, and I remember there was this really interesting, we'd always go to the Ernie Ball stage because the Ernie Ball stage at Warped Tour was where the new bands starting out were. And it was really cool because we went every single year from the time I was 12 to the time I was like 18. Right. And you'd see these bands progress, like get bigger and bigger. So bands that opened on the Ernie Ball stage. I remember we went and we saw the band Taking Back Sunday, which for, again, anybody from the emo generation remembers.
Yeah.
And we saw them, and the thing was there was this guy, and he handed us a flyer, and he was like standing in the crowd, because there's not a lot of, all the big crowds are going to see the big shows, which when we were there, bands like Blink-182 or
Right.
whatever. And anyway, there's this band and there's this guy, and we're listening. There's maybe 30 people in the crowd. And he turns to us and he goes, "Hey, my band's playing next. If you guys want to check it out, And we grab a flyer, and we're like 14. We're like, lame. And, like throw the flyer away because we're dummies. Just like, whatever, you know what I mean? And I remember we were walking away just going like, what a stupid band name. My Chemical Romance.
Oh, big oof, my guy.
What does that even mean?
Bro, Warped
My
Tour,
Chemical Romance.
Warped Tour was so wild because you have all these scene kids walking around, seeing My Chem, and, early Avenged. And then I literally saw Katy Perry there.
yeah.
Before she was big.
She was like a punk act starting, dude.
I mean, that's how it happens, right?
Yeah.
These bands, they get a lucky break like we did, and you get that exposure, and you prove yourself that you're not an imposter, and you prove to industry people, like, look, we did this, like 12:30 on the third day of the festival. Like, people are hungover, their bodies are aching, things like that.
Wow.
They showed up.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they were in it.
There's no such thing as, listen, imposter syndrome is real,
but
there's no, as we were talking about this before, this is Angel's thing. What is it that you say all the time? You don't try.
We don't try to do nothing. We always do it.
You do it.
And like
and
you
listen,
just said, you said a key word in there. Half the battle is showing up.
Exactly. And if you do it, then an imposter is somebody who pretends they know how to do it and don't know how to do it. All you have to do is do it, and that's it. And that's what you're doing. You know what I mean? You've done it, and that's awesome. And so now I want to talk about it because it's really funny. We have you guys on the show. You guys have been everywhere. I mean, so like I said, saw you Puddle of Mud, and then it's like within the last 2 months, it's like ANTiSAiNT's playing Download Festival with Slipknot and Metallica in England. Then ANTiSAiNT's coming back, headlining the opening for Ivan Moody for the Rock Stop. ANTiSAiNT is playing at the Lincoln with Drowning Pool. ANTiSAiNT is on 93.7 KZ for the Takeover. How was that? How was the 93.7 KZ Takeover?
We're gonna do it. Thursday?
Yeah.
Oh, so you got So 93.7 KAZY with JJ, who's a mutual friend of all of ours.
Love you, JJ.
Shout out to JJ.
Shout out to
JJ.
JJ. Awesome. We love you. You guys are gonna jump on KZ and do a whole takeover. Tell me about that.
Oh yeah. This time we're gonna have all four of us.
The whole.
So Cheyenne will get to hear Jackson's lovely British accent.
Oh, cool.
We're gonna take over. We're gonna, it's gonna be a lot of download stories and stuff, just talking about the experience, talking about the shows coming up. The playlist is gonna be all the bands from Download because we're like
killer,
so cool. I mean, obviously, a bunch of ANTiSAiNT in there because
yeah,
it's our takeover.
Duh.
But yeah, it's gonna be fun. Shout out to JJ again and KZ for allowing us to take over. I don't know why you would trust four idiots doing that, but hey, whatever.
So I guess back to what we was talking about hard work. So what I like about this whole conversation, this whole interview is just, I like to call this like timeline success.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because people just think like you just get in and it's like it's gonna happen right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? People don't understand all the principles, all the hard work, all the basics it takes to even appreciate having a moment. You know what I'm saying? So just like hearing you guys, it's just like, wow, what a timeline of success. You know what I mean? Just to know like where it was rooted, why it was important, why it means so much to me, why I love doing this. You know what I'm saying?
And not just that, we always talk about, not just it's dope that you guys did what you did, but when you got your moment, when Download called, you were prepared. It wasn't just that, we did all of this shit on the surface.
That's my biggest thing. And that's what I was getting into. And I'm glad you're saying that, Jared, because I always stress this to Dom. We were in the barber chair one time. And I'm just like, Dom, you know what it is? All this is good. I love it. Just waiting my turn.
Yeah.
And he's like, how are you waiting your turn? All of it is turning. It's moving right now. I'm like, no, this is what you don't understand. We're practicing every day.
Yep.
And I'm not practicing for perfect. I'm practicing for permanent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the fact that I know that that's relevant because I'm making it a possibility daily. The turn I'm talking about is when they come or your moments there. Are you ready or do you need like another week?
You gotta.
And I feel like that's why I'm saying your timeline of success looks so beautiful because it's like you're really in that turn now. And you're ready, you're prepared. Maybe that moment of COVID might have had you here so you could take more acknowledgement to what you guys are really doing for the turn.
Exactly.
So you guys are in your turn. And that's how I feel.
That Lincoln show opening for Puddle of Mud, which I have to shout out John and Renee.
Shout out to John and Renee.
Absolutely.
Love Lincoln.
So the way that even came together, they had the show and they hired me January of last year.
Nice.
So I've been there a little over a year, and they had Pull of Mud. They didn't have any openers, and I was like, "Hey, I've got a band. Will you put us on?" And they made it happen. They're like, "Yeah, let's do it." They weren't able to see that show, unfortunately. I think they had a wedding to go to. They'll see the Drowning Pool show, which is sweet.
That's a fact.
So it's just asking them to put us on, and Matthew and I, when we first moved to Cheyenne, I think it was probably a couple months into it, we saw a Smile Empty Soul there. And we walked into the venue, man, and I was blown away. I had no idea what this place was like. It looked gorgeous. The light rig was on point. Sound was great. I was like, I want to play on that stage, and then so working there and getting to, get the band on the Puddle of Mud show. I was like, yes, this is an achievement right now. And with it being the first show as ANTiSAiNT and the first one post-pandemic, like we were hungry. And like you said, the opportunity came and we're like, we're going to fucking nail this thing because we have to.
That's amazing, man.
And then that just gets the dominoes going. And then we can, obviously the previous relationship with Drowning Pool works out where we can get on that tour. And then, but then suddenly we have the right eyes and ears on us on that tour to make download happen. And then we know we're ready for download because, I run through our set at least twice a day.
Right.
Wow.
And Matthew rehearses not every day with me because, vocal health and all that. You don't want to strain everything, but he's multiple times a week. So, and anytime that we have a show or a tour, we're bringing Andreas and Jackson in, like at least a week before.
Yeah, I mean, like I probably have 3 more sets to do before Ivan's thing.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you got Ivan Moody's opening this weekend. You got Drowning Pool. You just finished up Download 20. You got the takeover. So what's next for ANTiSAiNT?
We're continuing writing. We're hoping to release songs like every 3-4 months.
That'd be dope.
So we're working on a nice cover that we'll be playing at Ivan's thing and at the Drowning Pool show. So that might be one of the singles that we put out. But it's just like you said, it's getting prepared. It's getting these songs done. So that way, when we get those opportunities of industry people, like what's next for you guys, be like, well, here's this entire album already done or close to being done.
Right.
You don't have to invest much into it. Just give us the green light and we're ready.
That's
nice.
See, this is what I love about it. There's that old adage that success happens when preparation meets opportunity, right? That's what it's all about. And to anybody out there who's just starting or to anybody out there who has a dream, oftentimes what you can't control, where the luck comes in, is the opportunity, right?
Absolutely.
But what you can control is the preparation.
Yes.
So you can control how good you are, how much practice you do, how much that's where you can sharpen your craft and get good. And it's really cool because the thing is, doing events and stuff like that, we have people hit us up all of the time. I mean, just all like you would not believe. And it's always like it for a lot of people, just so it comes off very like needy is a mean word, but it comes off very much like at Friday Nights at the Plaza, for instance, there will be people hanging over the rails, just going like, hey, can I get up on stage and do a song? You know, like I'm a musician. Can I get up?
That's real.
Can I get up on stage and do a song?
Yeah.
And from like a production standpoint, you're like, absolutely not. No, that'll never happen. Because it's like what you're not realizing is that, like, first of all, this took months of planning and contracts and sign things, and like, for you to even get on that stage, we need to like get approval from the headlining act, who's got a team of 150,000 or 150 like members that all have to get paid from all this. Plus, we have 4,000 people in that crowd, and we're not about to scare them all off on running the risk of if you're good or not.
Right.
So, but you don't have any. I don't have time to say all that because you're literally asking me 5 seconds before the show's supposed to start. So the answer is always going to be
no.
And then you just go. You know, I mean, and that's just it. But the thing is that there are times when opportunity knocks, like with Puddle of Mud. And the thing is, though, is that if you are prepared and have that mindset of like, look, we have to crush this. And like you guys said, we are the future of nu metal. We are where this genre is going. The problem is that they just haven't seen us yet. Exactly. Because here's what happens is when you do have that opportunity, like you did with Puddle of Mud, and you do crush it like you did, then all of a sudden people like me who put on shows go, oh, fuck, those guys were great. Perfect. Call them every time. You know, because you've now solved a problem for us. We need an awesome band that's going to crush. They crush. Perfect. Done. And then you know, go on with it. So I just love, I think you guys have the right mindset. You guys are crushing it. You have the right work ethic. You're super cool guys. You're humble. You got
Feels
all
good.
this going on.
Feels real good.
You know, the abs don't hurt. I think
the energy, I like it. I mean, the energy in the room, just the passion in the conversation. I mean, like, I want the show to keep going. I don't even want to stop the show. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
No, seriously, because I feel like there's so much more details that it just get more and more interesting.
Oh yeah.
And it just keeps going and going. Like, it feels like you guys are already turning the tumbleweeds that I see running through Wyoming all the time. And they're getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And before you know it, it's all the way there. You can't miss this one. You know what I'm saying? So it just seems so, it's like Dom said one episode, he's like, it's amazing to start the fire, but the maintaining of the fire
that's the hard part.
is the hardest part.
That's the hard part.
And I feel like it just feels so good. Like, look, I'm getting chills talking about it because it's just this energy in the room. And I feel you guys are headed in such a great direction. So it's just a pleasure to just be enjoying this conversation with you guys and just seeing what you guys are going through. So I just want to say shout out to you guys, and I wish you nothing but the best. Like, honestly, you guys got some fire going on right now.
Thank you guys for.
Absolutely. So before we get out of here, tell them where they can find you, where they can find your music, give them some tags, social media, things like that.
So ANTiSAiNT is on every streaming platform that will exist or ever exist.
He said every
MySpace,
okay? Every
MySpace.
Yeah, go to MySpace.
Zanga.
So social medias, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. The handle is always at ANTiSAiNT Band. One word, no underscore bullshit or anything like that.
Nothing, just
ANTiSAiNT Band.
Love it.
Linktree / ANTiSAiNT Band. That'll get you everywhere. And that's got links to all the Spotify, Apple Music, our YouTube channel with visualizers coming out on the 15th during Ivan's release.
Cannot wait.
I'll show y'all it.
Cannot wait.
That's a fact.
It's gonna be great.
So if you weren't a fan before, if you haven't checked them out before, take the time, sit down, check them out. This is your local people right here doing exactly
this is a WyOriginal moment.
Check them out.
I do have one thing.
Quick,
so and I always and it's just a new part of the show that we've dedicated our time to. And our new slogan for our show where we're all relevant, but we need to be more familiar. You know what I mean? That's like a WyOriginal slogan for what we're doing right now. To our youth out there, I always say we're never going to forget you guys. Every portion of our show is dedicated to you. So if you're watching this, hopefully this is inspiring for you. You know that we're going to have all these avenues. If you want to come holler at us, we'll leave some links and tags. If you're going through some hardships or some mental health situations or parents needing some information from us or some help avenues, remember to hit us up. We're always here for you guys. So it's been a pleasure for you to tune in once again. And, you know,
Yeah.
I just don't want to forget about you guys. I tell you every time we're going to dedicate moments like this, because I don't want to have moments where they're minutes to 20 minutes of talking about why we just lost. So I'm just glad you guys keep tuning in. And just know that we're still here for you.
Yeah, and on that, to add a little bit, the Lincoln has a program for teens where they provide free concert tickets. So go to their website, check that out. John and Renee are fantastic with that, and they also give a lot of opportunities, like, you know, to local artists. There's local showcase throughout the summer, different genres this year. They do that every year, and then, like I said, you know, if your band or your act is up to their par, they always put local musicians on national shows for exposure.
And
I didn't know that they did that for kids. So if you are listening, there's still more help. Look, the Lincoln is providing some help. We'll leave some tags there for you to contact them. And that's great you brought that up.
Yeah.
I'm glad there's more participation.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, I love that this platform is centered around that. You know, like, it is a grind to become successful in anything. So just remember that. Like we discussed, the opportunity is the hardest part. Yeah. But if you stay true to your craft and you hone in on it and just get that part right, when the opportunity comes, you'll be ready. And that's when you'll
well, and that's what I was going to say, you know, to any youth out there watching that have a dream, it doesn't matter what the dream is. It really doesn't. I mean, you know, for these dudes, it's rock and roll, heavy metal, and all this stuff. You know, for us, it's this, it's a lot of things, but whatever it is that you're passionate about, I know so much of what troubles the youth in Cheyenne is feeling like there is no way out, or what they're around is all there is, and it's all they're going to be. You know what I mean? That's how I felt growing up, and that's how a lot of people feel. But let ANTiSAiNT be that example to you. These are Cheyenne dudes who, through spending those long cold winters that we have, rather than messing around or doing dumb stuff or whatever, you know, or even falling into pits of depression or anxiety, it's like taking all those thoughts and hopes and dreams and putting them towards something like creating a band and creating music and working. And it's taken them all over the place. It's taken them to England. It's taken them all over, you know, opening for bands that I idolized when I was growing up. I mean, hard work will get you there. There is so much hope. And now you can look towards this and see it, because that. And so thank you guys for being an inspiration to the kids in Cheyenne.
Tell our story, man.
No, facts. It was like I said, it was a pleasure to listen. And like, I don't want to cut it off. But I guess I look forward to keep listening.
Yes, there you go.
You know what I mean? Through the music, through catching you guys' vibes, through the social media networks and everything you guys do.
And listen, for everybody watching, come check out ANTiSAiNT this Saturday for free at the grand opening of Ivan Moody's Rockstop. One of the few times. And I'm telling you, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be a huge block party. You know, they're going to rock the show. You've heard them talk about it. Now you get to see them live.
Right now, all the pressure's on.
Yeah. Now you can't suck. Now.
This is their biggest stage.
Yes.
Please show up.
Yeah. No, it's all fun. It's all love. It's going to be a really great time, but come check them out for sure.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's a wrap. Once again, thank you to ANTiSAiNT. Again, if you have any questions, concerns, or if you have any information for community that we need to know, please reach out and let us know. This is another episode of the WyOriginal Podcast. Thank you.
Yep. Oh, wait, hold on, real quick. This was our very, very first live broadcast, and we're so happy to have ANTiSAiNT as our first live broadcast.
What a blessing.
I gotta give some shout outs real quick. I'm gonna take the camera right now, and we're gonna go look. First off, thanks, Scott. Everyone give it up for Scott. And look right here. We got Zach. This could not have been possible without Zach. The whole time we're doing this, he's flipping the cameras. See, he's adjusting the camera right now to make sure that he can be seen on this live broadcast. So thank you so much to the WyOriginal crew for making it happen. Thank you to ANTiSAiNT for coming out.
Thank you. You're far too kind.
Good job, man.
Yo, that was
Y'all
a hell
killed,
of a
man.
show, bro. Like,
That was great.
honestly, I didn't even want to stop.
Hey, those are the best interviews, man.
I ain't even gonna lie, bro. Like, I feel like we could have went the whole day.
I can't
just going.
stand interviews that are like, so you released an album.
Yeah,
is there a question behind
it? Honestly, bro, I'll tell you this. Like, when we first started doing this, I was like, I used to get the butterflies in my stomach, acting like I've never